Okay, so this is going to be an example of a min-max run, doing the same boss as before, but this time I'm using a different character that has an easy minimum and maximum potential. So for this character, they have a particular card that gives you cards that are called shivs. Uh, my objective in this is to maximize the amount of shivs I can have in one turn, and get rid of every single other card that is not conducive of getting those shivs every single turn. So, typical deck builders, you would want to have as many cards as possible to have a wide variety of different kinds of attacks and different effects that you can do. For this particular style of play, you want to have a very predictable hand, which means as minimum of cards as you can have, which in this game you can have absolutely no cards in your hand, which is bad. But if the only cards I have in my deck are the ones that give me shivs, it is going to be very beneficial for doing this particular run. Now, as you've seen, I picked up a couple cards that weren't shivs. One in particular was every time that I attack an enemy that has unblocked damage, they gain a point of poison. Poison does damage at the start of the enemy's turn, which gives me an advantage of having them die if I don't have enough damage going out. So I've been getting rid of cards throughout this run that don't benefit me in any way, such as some of the cards that exhaust another card, which in this game, exhaust means remove from the game temporarily. And I've been getting rid of most of my basic attack cards, which later on in this run kind of doesn't help me because I end up taking more cards than I need to when I'm trying to shoot to have a basically a deck of 6 cards, which you start out at 10, and then you can add cards to your deck every single encounter. So we're coming back to this boss that I fought the first time, and it took me about, I'd say, 4 minutes non-sped up. This boss is going to take me about a minute and a half sped up, which is much, much faster than the last one because, as you can see, almost every single time that he goes into this attack phase, I'm pulling all these shivs and I'm making him go right into this defense form that we talked about in the last slide. So most of the cards I have in my deck right now are either the shiv cards or defense cards. So this particular cycle, I think I got 9 shiv cards, and he goes right back into his defense form. And every time, since I set up with that poison damage, every time I'm hitting him, he's getting poisoned, which, as you see, he died really, really quickly. which I get this card called After Image every time I receive damage. I gain a piece of block. Now I fare much better in this second world because of this setup. I'm almost always getting the power card to add poison, this other power card that I just played to gain a free shiv every turn, and I'm doing approximately 30 damage every single turn, which is good because most enemies don't break the 100 health cap. Later on they do, but as you can see, this is where I make my first mistake because I get a little bit greedy and I get rid of an attack which I could have used later on in the run, and that's what most how most runs end, are that people get greedy and they miscalculate on what they think they will need later on, because the nature of a rogue game is supposed to be random. You don't know what's going to come up next in the next room, so you need to be prepared for basically anything. It goes very well currently, but I think I take one of these cards, which I misread what these cards do, and a couple of these relics I thought they did some different kind of effect, and it just ends up backfiring on me later in this level, because I thought I had certain abilities that did not exist. Continuing forward on this guy does a lot of damage, but I also have an ability that doesn't remove my block completely as long as I have enough of it, so I can have a good setup. And this is the first example of the black star being used. It gave me 2 additional relics on that one, so it gave me an additional card to pull, and what I thought was a ability called Intangible that made me essentially unkillable, because the enemies would only do 1 damage to me. However, it works a little differently because it has a certain condition that needs to be met in order to utilize it properly. This is not the enemy that kills me. I believe it's 2 rooms after this that I end up losing the run. But the setup here for minimum and maximum is very good. I take a lot of cards that cost 0, which are basically free cards. So yeah, this elite right here is what kills me, and it's because I thought that I would be intangible for every turn, but it's only intangible at the beginning of the encounter.